Welcome back to the final part of the Pokemon Home review, talk about shit show. Oh no, I don't want to do a random battle, that's embarrassing, click the wrong thing. So, one more box full of these dudes to talk about. Now, first thing I want to talk about, actually, going back in time. Talked about Azelf and Mesprit recently, and I said that this new move they have, Mystical Power, was like Mystical Fire, except Psychic type, and worse. But it's not a 100% chance to lower your opponent's special attack, which is like what my brain decided this was. This is a 100% chance to raise your special attack by one stage. So it's kind of like Power-Up Punch, well, crazy. Like, I think this is good. Now, I don't know if... I don't see a ton of situations in which anybody besides Azelf runs this. I could see like a Scarf Azelf, or maybe in lower tiers, or maybe on a... But we're not talking about tiers. Like, we're talking about like League, right? On a particularly Psychic weak matchup, I could see Mesprit and or Azelf trying to run away with the game, like if they're Scarfed or something, and do this. We're gonna talk about Uxie in this this episode. I don't see Uxie doing that, but needed to talk about that because, you know, I love talking about Pokemon, but sometimes I talk wrong about Pokemon. So, sorry about that. Now, let's talk about this guy, Hisuian Samurott. Kind of a wild Pokemon. Just because of this move, right? Ceaseless Edge. So, first of all, gets the ability Sharpness, which boosts Ceaseless Edge from a 65 base power move to, what is that, plus 32.5. So 97 base power, is that how that math works out? 97 base power stab move, 90% accurate. So this is, first of all, stronger than? Yeah, right, no. Same power as close combat because of sharpness, but it's got the stab, but it also never gets weaker, and it also sets up spikes. Very like low opportunity cost move. Like, the worst thing that happens is you miss, which sucks. But you get so many opportunities to do. This is a pretty decent defensive typing. Like, you resist, like, water by itself is a good typing, but dark doesn't take away too much from this. It's not like dark adds weaknesses that, like, we talked about, shit, what did we talk about last episode? Some shit. I feel like maybe it was when we were talking about Arcanine, where it's like, Rock doesn't help any of the weaknesses that this thing have. But like, Dark doesn't hurt it too bad because it gives you a Ghost resist and a Dark resist, which is good. It makes you Fairy weak. But I do feel like the Fairy weak, the Fighting, and Bug weakness, I think are tenable. All things considering the fact that you just click this move and you get up a layer of spikes. And it's also better than Kleavor's move because Kleavor, once you've hit it once, then there's no more benefit to clicking it, other than the fact that it's just a pretty strong move. So I think this thing has a better typing. It's not as strong as Kleavor. It's faster. The bulk is respectable. It's not terrible. And this thing also gets, like, I've seen Razor Shell because Razor Shell is slightly more slightly more powerful than Aqua Cutter. But Razor Shell has the chance to miss, but also can lower the target's defense, so you kind of break through stuff. It's got the crit chance, so like Razor Shell is kind of like the high risk, high reward move. Aqua Cutter's here. I think this also gets like, it also gets Sacred Sword, which is really cool. And it does get knockoff if you wanted to run that, but I don't think you're running double dark on this, maybe on an Assault Vest set. But also this thing gets stuff like Sucker, and Jet, and Swords Dance. I don't know why I put so much emphasis on the W there. It gets Mega Horn, but also you'd run X Scissor because that's sharpness boosted, so you can't miss. It's taunt. This thing's got an awesome move pool. Like, all the things I said about how, like, regular Samurott has a pretty good move pool, but it's not optimized for anything. This has a distinct thing it's supposed to. First of all, it's got an ability that makes it just all around better. Stats aren't really that different, but the ability makes it so much better, and it's got such a crazy move that's so good. If they gave Hisuian, regular Samurott sharpness, it would be better. It wouldn't be on the same level as this because it doesn't have this crazy move. I totally expect, just because the fact that this thing is so easily able to stack spikes and it has like a good matchup versus something like King Gambit, Golden Go, stuff like that. I don't need to name every Pokemon that it's good against, but good Pokemon in the meta, this thing can beat down. So I totally expect this to be gold at minimum. I maybe the stats are a little bit underwhelming and hold it back a little bit, but I feel like it's got just the stats it needs. I could totally see this being platinum, just because of this move. This move's crazy. Galarian Slowbro. I don't feel like it got anything that new. This didn't get chilly reception like the other one. This didn't break any new ground this generation. It still got quick draw if you're like crazy, but you're gonna be running regenerate a lot, unless you want to run like a really offensive one and be kind of like, a little bit of a shithead, right? And you can also go quick claw, so you get what's that come out to? 20% chance for quick claw to pop, and it's a 30% chance for this to go, but I don't know which one checks first. Let's say quick claw checks first. That's a 20% chance you move first. I thought quick claw was like higher. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, sorry, ignore my phone going. Anyways, so 80% of the time you don't go first. That means 30% of that 80%, so that's 24%. So that comes out to, what, 44% of the time you're going first. It's quick claw, quick draw. Not that anyone's actually doing that, but like the stats are pretty decent. Shell sidearm's kind of a cool move. Do I still not totally understand how this works? Does it always... Okay, so it always goes off of like whatever... It auto-calcs to hit as hard as it can. So even if you're not super invested in attack, like actually, even if you're like minus attack, you're like max, but you're going against... So this would be a special attack against most things, except against a Blissey, because Blissey's going to take more damage if it's a physical attack. I think that's how it works, which is kind of cool, but I mean, Poison Psych's not a bad offensive type, especially considering the coverage this thing has. So I do see this thing having a niche. Also, it gets Future Sight, which is really strong. Just kidding. It doesn't get that. Man, there was a time where I'm just like, oh man, they gave all the cool stuff to Slowbro, none of the cool stuff to Slowking, and I feel like time has made a fool of me. I don't know what this thing does that its kingly cousin doesn't, because Curious Medicine, joke of an ability. This thing gets chilly reception. The thing that made this like manageable before, because it's like, it's got fantastic stats, it's got the move pool, it's got one of the best abilities in the game. This guy and Slowbro Galarian did not get Teleport last gen. Now it gets chilly reception, which isn't the same, okay? It's a little bit worse. Has not decreased priority. But you still got the switch now, so you can come in, soak up a hit, and chilly out. This got way better. Like, Brett is known for taking all the slow guys and all the regen mons. This thing should go, like, he would draft this in Platinum, I would imagine. I'm sure he wouldn't look at it with the price tag of Platinum. He'd be like, oh, no longer worth it. I think we had it in Gold before, because the poison type, makes it weak to a pretty common move in Earthquake, and like water type tended to be a better defensive type, but water plus psychic, they didn't really help each other out too much. But like this is good because like you want to be able to resist fairy, want to be able like other poison types floating around because the fairies. I think this is good, and also it's a 4x fighting weakness, and we're going to talk about some poison fighting types here in a second. Galarian Slowking really good. Let's talk about these in the opposite order. We're going to talk about Sneasler first. Sneasler is a wild Pokemon that I had kind of earmarked to be banned off the get-go. I mean, look at these stats. These stats are wild. Plus it gets Unburden and Poison Touch. Both of them have benefits. So the set I've seen a lot with this is Air Balloon, and then like Swords Dance, Dire Claw, CC, and Acro, right? And I've seen some of these flying guys. Where'd you go? Yeah, so this is the set I've seen a lot. Swords Dance, Dire Claw, Close Combat, Acrobatics. I'm sorry, I need to finish it up. So if anything attacks it to pop the balloon, and it's not a super effective hit, you're gonna live, pop the balloon, activate Unburden as you get the Swords Dance up, and now your stab close combats are doing crazy damage. If you Terra into a flying type, your acrobatics are doing crazy damage. That's the other thing, you can go Terra flying, because I don't think it shares any weaknesses with anything Sneezer's already weak to. So you're getting hit with a neutral hit, and now you're able to get stab acro, a little bit like Roaring Moon. But that's not even the craziest thing. Craziest thing is Dire Claw. 50% chance to sleep, poison, or paralyze the target. That's crazy. This has... So that means also, when this procs, then it goes, okay, let me figure out what status I'm going to do. 30% chance... Or sorry, so that's a 1/3 chance from each of these, which equates to, I've crunched the numbers here, about a 16% chance to sleep, 16% chance to poison, 16% chance to para. That is crazy. 16% chance to sleep is the highest amount of, like, for a secondary effect, with the exception of Serene Grace Meloetta that we talked about before with Relic Song, and that actually has big drawbacks to it. This has no drawback other than, maybe you don't get sleep, which, come on, seriously, that's the biggest drawback. I think that, so I would also, if people want to talk about it, I'm open to banning just Dire Claw, because I think this is the broken part of this Pokemon. And granted, I know Smogon's not going to do that, because they don't believe in that, which I understand. But I think if people are open to the conversation, we can do this, because I don't think you change this thing's function much if you give it access to Poison Jab or force it to run Gunk Shot. Like, in a lot of ways, this is, like, better for it. Just, like, Dire Claw is so good that it forces it to not run other safe stuff. And then also, in addition, I'm going to look at this plus Poison Jab. Even in this metagame, which I guess you're probably running, like, Life Orb or Lum or some shit, in this world, you got a 30% chance to poison a target. That means 70% of Pokemon don't get poisoned. 30% of those do get poisoned. Now you have a 51% chance to poison a target if you hit them with Poison Jab and Poison Touch. Pretty crazy. Like, this thing is still platinum even if we ban Dire Claw. But I'm okay saying goodbye to this thing as a whole. I'm not opposed to it. Shiny one in here? Shiny one looks ugly. Let's go back to Sui and Sneasel. This doesn't have Dire Claw, so this is fine already. But it has all the other stuff, I think. It's got... God, come on, get your head in the game, Jeremy. This is... millions of people are watching. This gets closing... Poison Jab, Close Combat. You're not running Acro on this because you want to be able to run, like, Eviolite or some shit. God, I can't spell a fucking thing. And this doesn't get that other thing. So you can just run Inner Focus so you can't get, like, faked out or, you know, Iron Head just bullshit flinches or also intimidated. And then I've seen a lot of them running Trailblaze with Swords Dance. Oh, by the way, Sneasler also gets U-turn and Switcheroo, so there's also other shiesty shit you can do with this. So this is also a good Pokemon. This is like... I'm inclined to say, it's kind of crazy, that this might be better Toxicroak. Like, Toxicroak just got Close Combat. Just recently. It always had Swords Dance. This doesn't have priority as far as I know. Outside of Fake Out, but you can't, like, SD Fake Out. How that works. This also gets Toxic Spikes, Taunt. Does this get U-turn? I think I would have saw it by now if it did, yeah. It doesn't. But, like, this is a pretty good Pokemon on its own. I think this will get taken, especially for, like, someone who loves NFE Pokemon. Maybe someone who like, really enjoys NFE Pokemon and making people look silly if they put them in slightly too low of tier. I can't think of any 3-time champs who've done that. I don't know, I'll mull it over. Next we got Tauros. Tauros took a hit. I like Tauros. Rock Climb's gone, but that's not a big deal because Body Slam is kind of all around more reliable. It's stronger, it's more accurate. Or no, sorry, it's not stronger. It's more accurate. It's only slightly weaker because I know Rock Climb's gone. Whoa, I can't even see the stats on it. That's a shame. But I think it was only like 90 and this is 85, so Body Slam's still good. And then the problem is though, you run Rock Slide because that's also, oh, by the way, Sheer Force. You run Sheer Force if you don't know. You run Sheer Force Life Orb. When this thing gets close combat, unfortunately not Sheer Force boosted, but still very strong to be able to hit like Rock and Steel types that want to come in on your Body Slam. You can also go Earthquake if you don't want to lower your defenses. The biggest issue with this guy is he used to have Throat Chop, which was also Sheer Force boosted, and he doesn't have that anymore. So like, you don't have a way to hit ghosts super effective with a strong move. Like, the best way you can hit them is with a neutral move, unless you want to be crazy and use this base 40 special attack to run like Shadow Ball or some shit. Maybe there's some calcs where that's not stupid, but I would venture to guess that most of those calcs are stupid. Tauros took a step back, okay? Probably like back to where it was in the pre-getting Throat Chop days. So what's that, Gen 7? I'll say 7. Thunderous T, right? No, this is Thunderous I, excuse me, that's embarrassing. This is the Prankster guy with Defiant. The thing is, just electric types in general are better because of Terra. Because they lost that coverage from Hidden Power and stuff. They took a step back. Now they got Terra Blast and you can run Grass Knot too still. And like, you can really tailor this thing's coverage. If you don't need Ice, cool. But if you do need Ice, then you run Nasty Plot with Terra Ice, Terra Blast, Thunderbolt, another move, right? I think technically, just from a strictly like optimization standpoint, right, I think Focus Blast is the way to go, because off the top of my head, all the Pokemon that, with the exception of Shedinja, who's not in the game, all the Pokemon that resist Bolt Beam coverage are weak to fighting. Mamoswine, Magnezone line, I feel like there's one more I'm missing. So that's how you would do that. This guy's pretty good. I don't know if it's a gold tier pick though. It's like a real threatening gold tier. Or sorry, I don't think it's platinum tier. It's a real threatening gold. Don't know if it's platinum. This guy I've actually seen be more of an issue. Like slower, but it's like significantly stronger. It does all the same stuff, but it also has like another immunity. So these guys have always been pretty good, but they've just gotten better. Tornadus Eye. Oh, this is a Pokemon I always felt really struggled with what it was supposed to do. It's still got Hurricane, Grass Knot, Focus Blast, Sludge Bomb, U-Turn, Taunt, Tailwind. All this, like, this guy was more of a, like, support slash setup sort of guy. I remember also seeing, like, Bulk Up Acro with Chesto and Superpower. Like, now you can run Terra Blast and maybe make that set work. Yeah, there's probably something there. Yeah, this guy's, I think we had him in Silver. I don't think enough has left him to have that not be the case. Because, like, he lost Knockoff and Defog, but I don't think those were super, like, those weren't really the draws for this. Like, they were bonuses. But it's not like this guy. This guy, Regenerator, Heavy Duty Boots, still a thing. Brett's still gonna enjoy that. But, it lost Knockoff, right? I don't think it had Toxic really, but it lost Defog. Like, the thing that you did with this thing was knock off Defog, U-turn, and then inaccurate flying move. Which, don't worry, they gave him a new inaccurate flying move. What a joke. I think the Nasty Plot set becomes a lot more viable on this just because of, like, the lack of options. Storm, Focus Blast, yeah. Like, this is potentially pretty scary, but it's also what this guy's doing. So why wouldn't you just like, this guy's 125, 111, this is 110, 121. I feel like if you paid for this guy, which maybe he doesn't even deserve to be up here anymore, we'll talk about that, then why wouldn't you just use this guy who's better at that nasty plot stuff? Like, he's slightly slower, sure, but like a 15-point power increase is pretty big, and this thing's only 10 points faster. It's bulkier, maybe you have better setup opportunities, and the regen allows you to do it more often. I don't know. It's hard for me to say what he's gonna do because he was so dead set on knockoff, like being that annoying support pivot. That's gone now. Interested to see what Brett's gonna cook up for this guy. Now we're gonna talk about Typhlosion. Classic ABL Pokemon. Falconer used him a lot. He wouldn't stop even if we asked him to. Flash Fire Blaze, same stuff. Did he get Earth Power? No, he didn't. Like, well, he got anything cool. He didn't gain any new stuff. Like, I've seen Flash Fire, Terra Fire, Choice Specs, Eruption. Absolutely toast things. I'm gonna pull up a calc and see if I can do that real quick. Is this calc framed up in a not embarrassing way? Nope, it absolutely is. Looking dumb. Let's see. Okay, that's not terrible. Let's take a look at Typhlosion because I know I haven't been calcing in any of these, but we're gonna go ahead and do it. Boom, Terra Fire. Can we act? Oh, we don't want to activate Blaze. Flash Fire, right? Flash Fire. Boom. Click that button. Let's say we're in the sun, and it does 1100% to Abomasnow. That's not super shocking, right? Let's do like a bulky Pokemon. Do a Blissey. Blissey, 52 to 62, guaranteed 2-hit KO to do that. That's a Calm Max Spadef Blissey too, which doesn't exist. You two, like, unless they have a fire immunity. What's this? Check a Vaporeon. I don't really like Vaporeon, but like, you know, especially defensive water type, guaranteed 2-hit KO. After leftovers and stuff, still a pretty good chance. This thing can get wild. It's 109, 100 speed. That's a good spot. This guy, do it a little bit. He's even a little bit stronger, but he doesn't get the Flash Fire, right? But what he does get is this new move, Infernal Parade, which could be kind of cool, especially on teams that. And then does he get? Oh, it's already Ghost type. I was gonna say it'd be cool in combo with Hex, but this is like Lava Plume and Hex had a weak baby, because it's weaker than both of those moves, but it has the effects of both of them. So you could use this to burn something, and then it goes to 100 base power. I feel, but it's also which is probably the strongest ghost move in the game. If you get hazards up, you get T-spikes up, this thing could really start to wreck somebody if they're not prepared. But I just think it's hard to prepare for. Like, the speed is an issue for it. It doesn't gain significant bulk. It's decently strong, but it does. It also has a, like, I've seen some people run Calm Mind. I don't really like that. I don't think it's that good. I don't think you want to rely on Infernal Parade all the time. I think you're gonna, like, on choice sets, you're still gonna want to run Shadow Ball. You're running like. Also, I think if you're running like choice sets, you're probably running Fire Blast because you're not here to play, right? Unless the calc says you can get away with Flamethrower, you're not here to play games. If your choice, you're running Eruption, no question. And then, like, do Focus Blast, or do you like Extra Sensory? I don't know what you do with this guy. I think this is this is different than It's better than Typhlosion? I can't think of any way in which this is, outside of being 5 points faster and having a fire immunity, I don't think this is better. So, hard to say. But they're both in bronze territory for me. I think if you put either of these guys in iron, it's an auto take. If you put them in bronze, they're a potential miss. I don't know, hard to say. Interested to hear what you guys think. Luna. Ursa fucking Luna. Get shiny? Chinese kind of. Ursaluna's good, right? There's a calc that's been floating around that a Guts boosted. Hold on, let's do the whole calc. So, run Flame Warp, you run Guts, you run Swords Dance, and you run Facade. Then you go Terra Normal, right? Then you go, and then you go Max. Well, I mean, that's what we'll do for Max. We're living every hit, right? 100, yeah, let's talk about the bulk. 130, 105, 80, so bulky. It's so hard to OHKO this thing unless you're, like, super powerful. So you'll probably have opportunities to set up Swords Dance. Also, this thing goes crazy good on Trick Room when it does... Oh, why have I plus here? There's no plus here. When it does this stuff and goes on Trick Room, it's just everything's dead. Especially if you have a crest to be able to set up Trick Room and Lunar Dance. This set KOs fully Fizz-Def Braviary. Not Braviary, oh my god, Corviknight. That's strong. So strong. It's scary. I don't know if you know this thing's coming, if you can deal with it, how you want to like approach that. I'm not opposed to banning this. I'm gonna go ahead and say that, but I do think that this is a Pokemon that we leave in the league. It's easily gonna just slow roll people for like, even if we do another short season, like 7 or 8 games, probably getting 14 KOs. It's just, even if you don't run this Swords Dance stuff, and you just click like Facade, Headlong Rush, then it gets crunched to hit the fairies. And then you still have room for Swords Dance. You don't need anything else. This is like Diggersby's cousin who got really into steroids. Because like Diggersby, you could at least burn it. And also Diggersby couldn't turn super normal type. And it couldn't run Facade. It had to run Return or Mega Kick. Because everyone ran Mega Kick. It wasn't just me. This thing can be pretty wild. People have already approached me about it. It's going to be up for ban. Anything that OU votes on banning, we'll also discuss. And they've talked about Ursa, so we'll talk about it. Another big old bear who's oppressive in the metagame. People have talked about banning is Urshifu Rapid Strike, and that's for 2 reasons. 1, Punching Glove. That makes Surging Strikes 10% more strong. So 10% of 25 is 2.5, so it's 27.2. But it always hits 3 times, so that's... Nobody look at the calculator over here. I can 27.2. Why did I say 27.2? 27.5 times 3. That's an 82.5 base power move that always crits times 1.5. I don't know if that's how the rolls work out. It's a 123 base power, no drawback move that hits through defense boosts and substitutes. And that's just because of Punching Glove did that. And then also, this thing now gets Swords Dance. And can also turn Super Water type. Now, couple things to address here. Close Combat, not boosted by Punching Glove. So you can still take like Flame Body, Static, Rocky Helmet stuff on that. But like the Surging Strikes, the thing you always feared was Rocky Helmet because you lost almost half your HP from that. And also, you know, you had a pretty good chance. You had over a 50% chance to get burned by a Flame Body Pokemon if you didn't outright kill it, or a Static Pokemon. So the downside to Surging Strikes was also one of the good things about it is how often it hit. But now with Punching Glove, it's taken away the downside of Surging Strikes. This thing also got Trailblaze, which is very good. This could be a problem when you can really tailor its coverage to fit the matchup that it's facing. I've heard people say like this won't ever get banned from OU, but it'll be one of the best things. That sounds like Valiant to me, like Iron Valiant. Iron Valiant is a super strong like Pokemon in OU, but it also has like crazy coverage that makes it busted in League. this thing is just like super good, and I don't know if like the League, its application to League is probably a little bit different, because I think this might be, I'm talked myself into this probably being too strong in League. So that's kind of what my thought is. Yuxi. Yuxi is just like all the other guys we talked about, Azelf and Mesprit, we talked about one of them each here. They get a move that I knew exactly what it did the whole time, mystical power. But this thing's like a great rocker, a great trick room setter-upper, great screener, just because it is so bulky. Like, look at these defenses. It lives everything. It's decently fast. It's really annoying. Like, I don't know how many you play Ranbats, even half as much as I do, but like, Dawn is fucking annoying and I'm sick of it. This thing get Thunder Wave? It does get Thunder Wave. Another stupid annoying move. I hate Paralysis. And this thing's got good coverage. It's got great utility. This is super utility mode. It's like, oh no, I'm lacking setup opportunities for my team. Oh, I'll get Yuxi. Oh, I don't have a rocker. Oh, I'll get Yuxi. Like, ooh, my team's pretty slow. I could appreciate some Trick Room help. Oh, there's Yuxi. And I think, like, maybe you could run away with, like, a weird, stored power. Doesn't get Cosmic? No, it doesn't. So you run Calm Mind, right? I don't think you get any, like, crazy stuff like Acid Armor, Iron Defense. I don't know, maybe you do something like this. Trick could be annoying. U-turns on there. You could make this into something. Yuxi is never the best Pokemon. It's always the right Pokemon, right? You know, it's always got a spot that you want. Well, Canyon. The only Pokemon in the entire game who has Scald. One of the best moves in the game, but it also has Steam Eruption. So it'll probably never run Scald. So that's kind of funny to me. Volcano's also very bulky. 80, 120, 90, very good. Decent defensive typing. Obviously you're stuck into running heavy duty boots. Just because you don't want to get shredded by rocks in every hazard under the sun. But I always find this very hard to switch into. It's really strong with the, we get 130. So it's got Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, and I've seen people run like this Flame Charge set on it, so that way it can be faster, because that's kind of the biggest thing that holds it back. But I mean, you can also just run Fire Blast and toss some Goggles on this boy. When I say Goggles, I mean Specs, because Goggles is a different item. He's good. He's always been pretty good, but he's just never been like the guy, you know what I mean? Like he's always gonna make way for Prince Ali, right? That makes sense? That makes sense? Oh my god, I didn't reframe this, guys. I'm sure the 1 or 3 people who are watching this are very annoyed by me. So thank you for not turning off YouTube, I guess, because Weirdeer's bad. This is another Pokemon I don't know what Game Freak like wants us to do with it. Like, it's pretty bulky. It's not even though. Like 103 HP is good. I think 90 and up HP, 90 to 105 is like, hey, it's good HP. 106 to 120 is like, this HP is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the stats probably. Any higher than that, it's like, wow, crazy HP for them. This thing's got bad defense. This has got like defense on par with Lantern, and it's got like 20 base power or 20 base points less HP. And it doesn't make up for that in like a stellar attack stat either, or speed stat. It's just kind of meh. It's got that Psy Shield Bash move, physical, guaranteed to lower your opponent's defense by 1 stage. Could you go like, but it's so slow. Like this would be an interesting like anti-Stalmon, because you would break through shit eventually. I don't know, maybe there's something there, but like the only times I've seen it do stuff is like screeners and just like the generally good coverage on stuff. Like, it can't really set up, it can't really break. This is, like, given the choice between these two, you take Yuxi 100% of the time because you got range, right? This thing got no range. Does this get Trick Room? It does get Trick Room, but it's also, like, this is, I'm building a Trick Room team, and my secondary Trick Room setter in Yuxi got sniped here in the 6th round, or 7th round, just before I took it. And then you're just like, I guess I'll wait until the 9th round. Look at Weird Ear. Zapdos. Zapdos is having some problems, so I'm gonna be honest with you. Roost down to 8 PP. Kind of a big deal. Not gonna sit here and pretend it's not. That's a big deal for Zapdos. No Toxic, right? Problem. No Defog. Also a problem. So you're back to running, like, it's still good offensively, like Hurricane, Volt Switch, Heat Wave, all pretty good options there. It's also one of those mons that get Volt Switch and U-turn, so even if your opponent has a ground type that they're going to want to switch in, you can still get the momentum. This is one of those Pokemon that lost so much of its utility that it's ended up switching to an offensive role, and it's still pretty good at that, like 100 base speed, 125 attack, also got the stats to back it up. Zapdos is never going to, I don't think it's going to thrive the way it thrived before, but I still think it's a platinum tier pick, no doubt. Another Pokemon that I always really liked, what's your shiny? Oh, right. Actually, very cool. Forgot about that. Yeah, so, this Pokemon, the coverage is always good. I don't think there's any flying, I'm gonna say that, I'm embarrassed, but I don't think there's any flying, fighting Pokemon that isn't, like, pretty decent. This thing also gets U-turn, but the problem is with this Pokemon is it lost Throat Chop, so it can't hit ghosts. It's a big thing that holds it back. I mean, you could Terra into Dark, or maybe that does something for you. Dark or Ghost, maybe Ghost, just because, like, you know, that's always the go-to. I don't know. Like, you probably run Stomping Tantrum at that spot and then throw a band on it. Since Calcs always fuck me up. Like, 125, you can't intimidate it because they're defined. It's got high base power moves that are stab, and if it picks the right coverage, it can get through you. Now, granted, there's a good deal of ghosts that are going to be able to check this now, because it doesn't have Throat Chop to be afraid of. As long as they are neutral to Brave Bird and neutral to Stomping Tantrum, they can get around it. But this thing's taking a hit for sure. But I still think it's very good. I think it still needs gold too. Zarude lost Jungle Healing. Oh no, never mind. It still has Jungle Healing. Right? Why am I not seeing Jungle Healing on this thing anymore? It got Swords Dance. It lost Darkest Lariat. So now it's got to run Crunch, which isn't a big deal. Like, it's not a huge downgrade. Same base power, but, like, if something wanted to boost up alongside you while you were, like, bulking up or something, then you were able to Darkest Lariat through them. You can't do that now. His Drain Punch, I believe it gets Close Combat. Yeah. Power Whip. Also gets Seed Bomb. Tell me you get Seed Bomb for the cowards like me. Yeah. Good Pokemon. It got slightly better. I think we had it in Silver before. I could see a move up to Gold for this guy being in the future. I don't know. Hard to say. I'm curious what other people think about it, because I feel like we didn't get to see a lot of it last time it was around. But I think it's got some interesting things going for it. I'm not, like, dead set on a move up to Gold. Actually, I'm thinking if I was going to vote today, I'd vote Silver. I think that's where we're at with it. I think that's all we got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about something I overlooked that I feel like I need to talk about. That's Mew. Okay? Now we banned Mew. But Mew lost a lot of stuff. So, lost Defog, right? So no defog. No roost. No recover. No synthesis. No moonlight. And no morning sun. I think that's all the recovering. So defensive Mew's pretty much gone. No toxic. Toxic's not the game. So, well, it's in the game. This thing lost all of its defensive utility. Offensively, it's not very good. Like, it's got the coverage. That's the thing that Mew always had going for it, was the coverage. Now that defensive sets are pretty much taken off the table, it's left with like utility stuff where it's just gonna get up. It's gonna get up rocks and taunt, like anti-lead stuff. All the stuff Yuxi can do. And crazy thing is, Yuxi might be better at that stuff just because it's bulkier. But it doesn't get as many hazards. This thing gets T-spikes, regular spikes, and stealth rock. And this thing does get set up on both sides with the Nasty Plot, Swords Dance, and it's got good coverage across the board. I think there can be a real discussion about bringing Mew back down, because I think taking away half of its sets makes it very manageable. You know, I'll defer to the expert Mew user out there, Brett, if he watches this, but I'd like to have an open discussion about Mew, because Mew, I think, is I feel like it was more of a theoretical problem. I mean, it won like 2 championships back to back with Brett, so it's very good. But I do think a lot of the but it was like never overbearingly good. It was just like, this is a mon I can't plan for, and I don't think this has. This got roughly the same coverage that Victini would run, and Victini had a scarier move and other stabs, and nobody sees Victini as broken. Just now it can't. I think this is on the same level. That's where I am with it. I think I've talked about all the things I need to talk about. I'm just gonna scroll through here and see if there's anything that I missed. Some stuff that I missed before, and I don't want to be accused of making mistakes. Magearna is back. We're gonna ban it. It's already banned from OU. It's weird that it's on this list, but I don't think I have it. Anyway, it should be gone. We're not gonna have it. There's no way. I mean, we'll vote on it, I guess, but if anybody votes no ban, they're a communist. I think all this stuff. Feel good about it. Oh, jeez. I need to talk about Walking Wake and Iron Leaves, because they came out in the interim, and we never talked about it. Walking Wake, very good on Sun or Rain. Super crazy mon. I mean, on Sun in particular, it's very good because of its signature ability, Hydro Steam, or signature move, Hydro Steam. It's actually strengthened in the Sun instead of being halved like most water moves. Plus, it gets a photosynthesis boost in the Sun. It also gets Hurricane, so if you want to run like Hydro Pump, there we go. Hydro Pump, Hurricane, Draco, and another move. Surf, just to be safe. It's really good. This is a gold, maybe. This is a platinum tier mon. I'd say platinum. Like, even not on Sun, this is still a threatening Pokemon. 109 speed, 125 attack. Great defensive typing. It's going to be able to come in on a lot of hits and scare a lot of people. The Leaves. Leaves is a bad typing. We've seen this typing before in things like Celebi, Calyrex. It doesn't have the bulk Celebi has. It's strong. It's got this move. What does it? What's the move? Oh, Psyblade. Psyblade gets a 1.5 times boost in electric terrain. I don't know why they didn't want to make any of the iron, whatever, the future Paradox Pokemon electric. They're gonna get stronger in electric terrain. Right, didn't they? Did they make any of them electric? Because this is, yeah, just Iron Hands. And they made Iron Hands slow, and Iron Thorns. how'd they like I just, but then they gave this Pokemon a move. They should have made, this should have been like, this was grass electric and Psyblade was an electric type move. This thing's crazy. Like, I don't think that's, yeah, that's 100%, this is a crazy Pokemon if it's grass electric. This is then becomes like the best electric terrain Pokemon in the world. I don't know, disappointing. But this thing's really strong. I think it'll end up in like a mid-tier, like silver-ish, because it is very strong. It's pretty fast. It's got, I think it gets close combat too. Yeah, it gets close combat, Psyblade, Leaf Blade, and X Scissor. I don't know, we'll put that on there. Like, this is threatening coverage if you throw a Choice Band on here. And also, not to mention, you could go ahead and run Booster Energy and Fork Drive. And you give it this set, you can take a little bit off the top here, actually a lot of bit off the top here. But you run that, get a Booster Energy and Speed, put Swords Dance on here, as I'm one to say. This starts hurting people. As long as you don't get if you can avoid getting U-turned on, which you can do by turning into a fighting type. Pretty good. Mid-tier Pokemon. I wish they would have made it grass electric. I wish I would have thought of that, and I should have called it my friend Janucci Masuda. We used to bowl with the owner of Samsung together. He could have done it. He could have saved this Pokemon. I think that's probably it, though. I think I got everything now. Got everything? It's not, ignore these guys. No, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's it. But yeah, we'll vote on the stuff that we banned previously, or that we voted on last time. We'll talk about Mew, talk about some other stuff, but that's what the future holds. So there, Papcoon, I've talked about it. Watch it 60 times and leave a comment. So that way, because otherwise I'm not gonna make content for you. Okay? It's been a lot of fun. If you have other things I should talk about, I like talking about Pokemon. I don't really love recording the videos, but I do love talking about Pokemon. So if you have any ideas, let me know. And we'll see you soon. Looking forward to Season 19. Goodbye.